vibrations to upkey. My brothers, my sisters, open up your hearts and your minds and heed the message. Peace to my kings and my queens, my nagoos and my niggas, my arsors and my arsets, or whatever y'all want to call y'all self, brothers and sisters. Just make sure y'all know who that is. And be that, I'ma love you. Now, melanin, the mystical entity within the rhythms of our systems, brothers and sisters. This molecule, or melanin chemical, is a pigment that represents the infinite acts and energy in creation. What I'm saying is, when we deal with melanin, we are dealing with the reason why we as Melanites can reach high spiritual levels of consciousness. At it, our pineal glands and pituitary glands play a major role in our melanin production and activity. At it, with the fact that melanin is what the male semen and the female egg is covered with. And when they connect, this causes the big melanated bang to form creation, where this creation, which is a child or universe, is being developed in a pool of melanated fluids while in the womb of the mother. And this affects the style and process of our genetic development, brothers and sisters. And being one of the key chemicals to life, melanin regulates all of the rhythmatic functions in our bodies, for without this pigment, one will lack the natural resonance of rhythm and vibes. Mentally, therefore, physically, brothers and sisters. And I say mentally and physically because melanin is also one of the key ignitions within our brains and our nervous systems, brothers and sisters. At it, there's different types of melanin. And the type of melanin that deals with the brain is called neuromelanin, aka brain melanin, for which the brain affects the mechanics of the body as a whole, which makes this melanin fit to be described as a balancing agent or a civilizing agent stemming from the headquarters. So, even though brain melanin does not ride side by side with skin melanin, this is brain melanin, which affects the great works of the brain, which affects the works of the body, mind over body, M-O-B, brothers and sisters, M-O-B. Now, we have what we call eumelanin. Eumelanin. E-U-M-E-L-A-N-I-N. Eumelanin, for those who can't spell. This pigment resonates with dark-complected people, or people of that same genotype. Added, this pigment is responsible for the black or brown colors of our physical makeup, i.e., the eye color, the skin color, feather and hair color of all dark pigmented existences on the planet. And speaking of hair, you or EU melanated people have various forms of nappy Napi, aka Lenape tribe. Lenape tribe, like hair, which is like phallic antennas. Cosmic hair-like antennas. Cosmic, cosmos, like cosmetology, which deals with the cosmic-like hair follicle. Antennas, brothers and sisters. We have hair on our heads. We have hair on our faces. Nose hair, body hair, even hair fiber-like antennas inside the ear. And for dark, melanated people, melanin acts as a filter to prevent damage to the delicate, deeper layers of the skin, done by the penetration of ultraviolet light. This is why you see people who lack melanin or function through pheomelanin counts, wear sunblock. The word pheo is linked to the word dust or dusty or residue, residual, meaning that this pheomelanin is a residuey melanin, a dusty residuey melanin, which has a pinkish, reddish, whitish, or yellowish color to it, like a healing sore. Added. This is the view of the hue of the Caucasian tissue, brothers and sisters. Pheomelanin, which is a lower and different level of melanin from eumelanin. Added. Pheomelanin is laced with sulfur, while eumelanin is laced with selenium. Added. Melanin gives you more of an ancestral memory, brothers and sisters. And the more melanin you have in your taste buds, the more you can taste the full flavor of the food you eat. And those who lack high counts of melanin in their taste buds shall deem the contrary. This is why most melanated people are not moved when we see the commercial where they say, now we have a more potatoey potato chip. Shit. We was cool tasting the potatoiness. The potato chips I already had. More chocolate chip cookies. To the point where you can't even taste the damn cookie part of the damn cookie. But you shouldn't be fucking with cookies anyway, brothers and sisters. Y'all feel me? But back to what I was saying. When you think about hair being antennas, you visualize spiral-like antennas like curly spiral-like hair, or stick-like antennas like straight hair in some cases. And in some cases, this can be used to compare you to Faye, or eumelanin to pheomelanin, or you to they, okay? Now, melanin can absorb various light rays into its being able to transform these rays of light into sound or forms of consciousness, which affects the levels of experiences received by the body of our being. And again, brothers and sisters, melanin has effects on our body as a whole because it is also a relative of neural brain melanin, which is linked to thoughts, brothers and sisters. Thoughts, which is vibration and frequencies, which makes the mind and melanin codependent in reaching high cosmic spiritual levels, brothers and sisters. This is to say that our minds can tap into the astronomical realm. And we are of the sun, Ra, or Ray, which connects us to high or low Ra, or radio wave stations, for which we tune into different stations mentally, which is internally, which can affect other stations externally, which can at times affect your station internally. See, radio waves carry info in two ways. FM, which means frequency modulation, and AM, which means amplitude modulation. And just like a radio picks up many center-like forms of frequencies or carrier frequencies, so can our mind. And of course, we already know that radio stations carry different programmings, and that we pick up programs that we are conditioned to listen to. But, brothers and sisters, we are not fully aware of the fact that we can also choose different channels in our melanated minds. See, radio stations function around kilowatts, and our brains possess a pituitary gland, which is the 6th chakra, and the pineal gland, which is the 7th chakra, 13. And within this system of 13 are attributes comparable to kilowatts, brothers and sisters. We are music. Now, our pituitary glands and pineal glands control the switch from AM to FM. What I'm saying is, for example, when these glands or chakras are programmed and conditioned to only tap into messages from third dimensional realms, our minds is stuck on AM radio, while FM radio is a metaphor for receiving messages of info from the higher dimensions beyond the 3D, which is 7, the physical God realm, before emerging beyond, heading into the 4th dimension, which is 4D. Added, 4 is equal to D, and D is equal to 4 in simple English gematria. And 4D vibrates and sounds like 40, which is 4, which is 13, brothers and sisters. And the preparation for connecting the 6th and 7th gland lies in learning to connect with the 4th dimensional channels of our radio mind, meaning we must customize a mental conduit or gateway which connects our 3D sense of being to our 4D reality, brothers and sisters. 3 and 4, 4 and 3. Now, these actions are allowed through the proper levels of melanin, and melanin is the main source of our pineal and pituitary glands. And normally, our connections with the higher dimensions usually takes place while we are asleep or in a deep state or trance. And most of our higher dimensional connections are done unconsciously, where we are not clearly remembering or receiving these readings properly because our consciousness is not involved in the communication unless the 6th chakra is involved in the process so that it can channel a vision of the communication to the flat screen in our mind, and then on to the cortex, entering the conscious reception center in our brain. And once the reception is deemed conscious, then the cortex can be used as a radio that we can turn on and browse with. Now, brothers and sisters, when you have a high melanated level of pigmentation, you possess a balance of AM and FM frequencies. But when you have a low melanated level of pigmentation, you only function on the AM frequency, which is being stuck in the physical state, or the third realm, or 3D, or the third dimensional realm. And saying this is to say that, brothers and sisters, if you are using your neuro-melanated mind correctly, it will act correctly. So imagine the contrary. And since dark pigmented people resonates with megahertz and FM frequencies, you might find that most of the radio stations you listen to are actually on the FM frequency, brothers and sisters. Now, if you peep the music and the people who control most of the music and the stations or radio stations being heard, you will come to the conclusion, if you are wise, that it'll be wise to indulge wisely when you deal with this bullshit, brothers and sisters. Add it. As melanin comes into contact with sunlight, cosmic rays, music, and radio waves, it absorbs that energy, stores it, and then passes it to other cells or selves of the body so that they can charge and rejuvenate themselves. So melanin can actually allow people to recharge their bodies or acquire energy without eating much or drinking much, brothers and sisters. Melanin is what we call an energy producer, an info transmitter and receiver, a protectant with various health benefits and functions. Some may try to dismiss the gift of melanin, replacing melanin with carbon, and that carbon plays the biggest role in the coloring of our physical makeups, brothers and sisters. I'll just say this. I agree that we are carbonated beings, and some are carbon-based organisms. But the complexity of the carbon's bonding abilities allows carbon to shapeshift, mutate, and bond into many, many, many different forms, brothers and sisters. And if one was to take a deeper trip down that old rabbit hole, they would know that when it comes to the dark matter people, the dark shining ones, the Melanites, we are organs that function together in sync as an organization. And when it comes to an organization like this, the carbon atom and the chemical we call melanin are hand in hand, a part of the mob, the organization, brothers and sisters. Now, ether, carbon being responsible for 18% of your body weight, brothers and sisters. Add it. Some even link the word melanin to the word melancholy. And I can see why. But that does not change the functions and the facts, brothers and sisters. How about melanin and melody for music, rhythm and vibes? Add it. The word mel could lead one to smelting or melted liquid. And the word anin, the end part of melanin, could lead one to the number 9. But in the meantime and in between time, to all my masculine and feminine beings, make FEMA camps feeble in the mind while embracing our me-la-9, brothers and sisters. Think about it. And, brothers and sisters, stay tuned for the next one.